Welcome everybody, it is Unstoppable Stiletzi with yet another Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition Casa game. So, we're doing another deathmatch. This time it's going to be a 1 versus 1 Lakota mirror. So yeah, this time we see Lakota versus Lakota. We see our good friend here, Kaishki Tushki, a friend of the channel. You know his Lakota pretty well. He loves to make lots and lots of bison to keep his hunting rate up and therefore not run out of food. Let's see how they do versus another Lakota led by Angel of Death. Before we see them batter each other, let's look at the map real quick to see what sorts of stuff they'll probably take advantage of. So, of course, you got this little peninsula sticking out of the river here. You know, somebody could put a TC in this area for sure and capture all this mining, all these hunts. As the Lakota and a Native American civ, natural resources are really to your benefit to get. You know, you don't get all those fancy estate and mill upgrades that the Europeans and the Asians get, respectively, so you have to play a little bit more carefully with Mother Nature and make sure you have plenty of her around to get your resources. Also, you got the little trade route here, too, that you can easily defend. This one especially using the little fords here, which are choke points. Unless you want to just go onto this big land piece, in which case you have to move around this way. Let's see how they do. This should be a really fun one, you know. It's been proven the Lakota is a really insane deathmatch civ from what I've seen in the past. Let us see how this goes. Okay, so Lakota, since both of our friends today are going to be using them, should give them a bit of a summary. So yeah. Lakota are a Native American civ. You know, they don't have to use houses at all, they just use teepees. The teepees don't provide any pop, they simply boost up units. Nice! So I see the big button market technology is in. Market first. Market first. That is true. That is absolutely true, man. You have to get a market first, because they have the big button technology that gives you experience points. And since your early shipments are so cheap in XP costs, you basically get 5 shipments off the back that you see right here. You already see 5 cards coming in. You know, it's first the kettle support to boost up the Wakina rifles, followed by aggressive policy, which lets these Wakina rifles actually build military buildings. Kinship Ties. These will allow these native embassies that you see our Lakota here conveniently building to actually train villagers. Also, they can train native scouts from the native embassies as well. Yet another advantage. A decent melee unit that you can put in front of your other units. Also, you see winter counts. Units provide more XP when trained. And villagers train faster and provide more XP when trained. So, this is a very boomy strategy that Tushki uses with his Lakota. What's the opposing Lakota going to do, though? So they did something a little bit different. You know, they decided to send in the support card for the Tajunke Prowlers, which, from the looks of it, increases their hit points. Makes them a little bit more tanky. Now, the Tajunke Prowlers are a French Cuirassier-style cavalry, so they have a splash attack. They're also joined by a shipment of the Cree trackers. Compared to the Wakina rifles, they have a very high hit point count. You know, this makes them really popular in scenarios like Coliseum, things like Arena. Also, even in maps like Saguenay in Hudson Bay, they just are a really tanky unit. Let's see how they'll do versus this army of mostly light cavalry. You know, the rifle riders are certainly formidable, but I don't see any heavy infantry on the field yet, so I don't know if they're going to see the most action yet. They'll certainly help against the Dazukis, though. Yeah, we see Red, though, putting some teepees on the front lines here. These teepees are going to boost up the HP of all of these units here, make them a little bit more survivable, you know. And we might want to see Blue Lakota back up a little bit first, just to deny Red that HP boost that they really need to keep these melee units in the game, pretty much, right? So, they're actually using Bandit Gang, which sends a large force of random outlaw units. So look at this. We even see African outlaw units. Like I saw some of the mounted camel ones from Africa over here. I see some desert archers. So that's kind of an interesting card, you know. Wait a minute. Mounted Granadero. This is an outlaw unit? Where did they get this from? Wow, I didn't expect that. Where'd these come from? Scary, scary stuff, you know. I wasn't expecting that unit to pop up. But anyways, it looks like Red is sort of going with the smorgasbord of all sorts of random stuff, not in the Lakota Civ. Whereas Blue Lakota is sticking to C-Tan bows, bow riders, and a couple of leftover rifle riders. Now, the C-Tan Bowman, this is a good budget unit, you know? You see that the Blue Lakota is a little bit low on food right now. So by going with the C-Tan bows, you give up some stats that the Wakina rifles would have, but they have a better rate of fire, and they're a lot cheaper in food, and they don't cost any coin. So, thankfully, the coin count of this Lakota is pretty high, so if they want to change into something like the Rifle Rider, the Axe Rider, they can definitely do that. Definitely with that coin, they can afford some of the veteran boyars from the House of Fanar up here. The wonderful native settlement of Prostigma, with plenty of Greek units, as well as Romanian units. You even see some of the Ebb Zones, too. These are the same guys as you see in Wars of Liberty, the Kleps, you know, just with a different name. You can even see the similarity in their appearance. Yep, they're basically just a native skirmisher unit that doesn't cost any pop space, so a good addition to a Lakota army to make their skirmisher mass even bigger. Which is going to get even bigger with these Wakina rifles coming in right behind them. Thankfully, because they have aggressive policy active, these Wakina rifles or the C-Tan Bowman can actually build forward-facing military buildings. Yeah, they can come right over here and finish off these corrals. We see the blue villagers here focusing mainly on hunting. This is because Lakota do really well when they're hunting. Not only do they get a lot of good upgrade cards for hunting, all they have to send left is the Great Hunter, which will boost it up even more and provide a bit of food in return. But when you have a nearby TP, it actually boosts the gather rate of the villagers as well, so they do even better at their hunting rate. Wow, you can train healer from the native monastery. Yeah, it's a church, you know, it's an Ethiopian church, so yeah, you can make your healers from it. Quite a good thing indeed. Trying to see who's got the advantage here though. Right now it seems like resource-wise, I still think Blue Lakota's doing pretty well. Is this Blue Lakota? Which Lakota is this? Yeah, I would say for sure Blue Lakota is doing well in their food economy. Very good in their food economy. I like here how they have the monasteries on top of the coin mines that you get access to through the House of Fanar. Basically, this Lakota will be able to gather from those mines without having any villagers on them, which doesn't require as many villagers to be on the tribal marketplaces around the mines, you know. So that's going to be a good boost to their coin ego in the early game. Now after that, they're going to need, you know, the estates like other European civs, but that won't be till later. For right now, they seem to be holding a bit of a skirmisher wall here, you know, of skirmishers. At the same time, trying to protect their flank against these sneaky Danish skirmishers here from the House of Oldenburg. Yeah, you gotta be careful of that, because not only can they make a skirmisher unit, they can also make veteran northern musketeers. These are a pretty decent musketeer equivalent that can kill cavalry, so these Tazunki Prowlers do have to make sure that they're outnumbering them at all times before engaging. The blue Tazunki Prowlers are coming in here to provide a bit of protection. They're definitely stalling them out though pretty well, I would say. The splash attack is also quite solid. Let's see right over here. Ah, we see some Axe Riders coming in to do some raiding work. Perfect. Axe Riders are great at raiding. You know, they have a lot of attack, about 77 attack. They do have a bit of a malice against villagers to offset that high attack a little bit, but overall their attack is really fierce to deal with, and it's not to be trifled with. Wakina rifles here, sort of hanging on. Not a lot of units so far, but that's okay, as they've basically pushed back the red Lakota quite a bit here, so they don't have to worry about as much offensive pressure. Also, it'd be cool if they could maybe capture this windmill as well. That trickles a bit of food on this map. We still see a teepee up here though from red, so as long as they're flying in this general proximity here, they're gonna have additional HP when they're dueling off against the blue units. Let's see if that can hold on though. From the looks of it, it seems like economically, Red Lakota is struggling in food and coin. That might be because they are using a lot of farms here. A lot of those corn farms. That's a bit of a problem, as farm economy is not as good as hunting economy. The fact that Blue Lakota was very quick to go onto those hunts, and it looks like now they're starting to use a little bit of berry economy as well. That's going to mean that they're going to have a little bit extra food to work with here, as you can see right here. Food eco is just thriving right now. Just thriving. And then whenever they need coin, they obviously have most of this map control too. So they got all the mines they want for the tribal marketplaces. Those special buildings the Native Americans use to gather coin from the nearby mine. And again, back to here. Looks like at this point red is forced into a bit of a budgeting situation, having to settle for some C-10 bows alongside the Wakina rifles. But what they really need right now is bow riders. You know, these axe riders are just going to cut their way through you like that. Look at their high attack. Skirmisher units like that, they don't stand a chance. You need to change it real quick here. You're gonna die. You're going to die. Look at how bad this is. Blue is doing such a good job fighting on the front lines here. Blue's villagers can drop all the way down over here into these hunts, which are practically into the red base. So red can't even enjoy hunting in their own base pretty much, which means they are starving right now, and blue is thriving. Yeah, he's almost got 10k food, like about half the amount you start with. That is insane. Some of the villagers are sieging as well, throwing some torches at those war huts. Yeah, this is the superior Lakota, I think. You know, they're fighting really well here. You know, I certainly found it interesting Red's method of employing outlaws into their ranks. I think in certain situations it could do quite well, but I just feel like the Blue Lakota's cavalry end up performing really well against those not so upgraded outlaw units. You know what I mean? Just now, if there was a way to upgrade your outlaws to Imperial upgrades or something for the Civ, I think, yeah, they'd be pretty good and they would be more viable, but since they only get really minimal upgrading compared to your regular units, I don't think they're really the best option. Not really. Not really at all. Set to War Chief, yeah. For those that didn't know, at the community plaza where you do the different dances, there is a dance where you can actually return your explorer to the community plaza if he is down. And if he isn't down, the dance will simply improve his stats. It'll give his HP, which you see up here, to be about 98% at this point, depending on how many dances are here. So yeah, see that? It's basically the Native Americans' version of tribute. You know, when you send a ransom. But luckily for the Native Americans, they don't pay a coin for this, so they just have to be dancing on the community plaza long enough, and then the explorer will return. I don't know what that's going to do, though. Well, it certainly did quite a bit of damage. And also make sure you keep the explorer around as much as possible, because the explorer does actually boost the HP of nearby units with an aura, which you can see. Now that's the TPs doing that. Now, if we saw the Lakota explorer in this vicinity and he wasn't Oh, he's all the way over here. Yeah, if he's standing up here, he would actually be boosting the stats of these units nearby him with the little, like a feather sort of ring around them. Doesn't need to, though, at this point. They already have the superior resources, and Red has lost most of their map at this point. The villagers are just stumbling around in the corner of the map here, wondering what they're going to do to save themselves. Like, I don't think building a war hut's going to get me out of this mess. Because, oh yeah, certainly, I mean, this blue Lakota has been playing really good this whole game with their unit choice, switching it up on their enemy. You know, whenever they went Burkina rifles, they had some axe riders available to deal with them. Whenever they went too heavy into the cavalry, they certainly had some bow riders ready for them. So, yeah, a lot of good planning, which really came out as a reward in the end. They also weren't so reliant on skirmishers because they had the House of Fanar to provide their native skirmishers to their rank, so they were able to free it up more to make some of the cavalry units. GG, good try, Angel Def, but we know our blue Lakota here, Kaichi Tushki, is the MVP of Deathmatch Lakota from the cast of games we've seen so far. So good work. Let's take a look at the post game. Yeah, you can tell right here, Tushki really knows how to manage his resources. It's the food that makes the most difference, though. He really does a good job at, like, forcing you back so that his villagers can move up to grab the hunts. Right, and then when those hunts run out, he starts to ship in bison, which he luckily didn't have to do here because, you know, he was fighting so well, he didn't have to rely on that backup food, so he was able to just keep moving the villagers forward all the way into the enemy's base, actually, to get their food. In terms of military, yeah, Blue did a good job at changing up his units when he knew the unit types were changing on the battlefield, right? He was able to keep some House of Fanar skirmishers, the Ebb zones out, so that he could use that space that the Wakinas would normally populate to make some cavalry. Pretty smart move, honestly. I mean, Red tried to do the Oldenburg natives, but unfortunately, he lost that due to loss of that part of the map, right? That got wiped out. So there's that. Hope you enjoyed this match. We got another death match coming up today as well, so hope you can be here for that one as well. See you in the next death match we do. Signing off now.